Success, failure, praise, humiliation, they're all prasad. I bow down and accept it internally. That gives a great spiritual dignity to such a karma yogi. Raises that person easily head and shoulders above everybody else. In the workplace, at home, everywhere. So that becomes karma yoga. Let me do the peace chant and then we will take up some more questions. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Rupanamastu. So, just as a notification, I was looking at the calendar and the rest of the month there are no more Gita classes. The next week I will be coming back from Austin, but the flight will land in the evening, so I won't be able to make it for the class. So no Gita class next Friday. But the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna classes are still there, 3 of them, one after another. So I'll be present here on those days. Then after that, I'll be in Ridgely Manor for a retreat, for a weekend retreat. So there won't be the Gita class here. After that, I'll be in Brussels, in Belgium, for a retreat in Europe. And the week after that, I'll be in Berlin. So in May again, we'll get a notification. We'll have Gita classes again. Yes. Please come with the basket, yes. Yes.
Swamiji, is the nature of truth realized by various paths, is it slightly different? Because a Gnani realizes objectless reality in which even the I, the self, is also dissolved. And from there, he sees all the objects are appearing, the same reality is appearing as various objects.
Yes.
Whereas a Bhakta, although Bhakta sees everything is God in everything, but Bhakta may not dissolve. I is always there, right, for Bhakta?
Yes. So the nature of the reality which is experienced in enlightenment, the reality is the same reality, but your experience may be different. Sri Ramakrishna put it this way: you want to become sugar or taste sugar? But it's still sugar. So you lose separateness, and you remain in that as that indescribable, limitless existence consciousness place. Or you retain the separateness, but you feel the existence, you feel the presence of the divine. God, the presence of God becomes very real to you.
So that does not make it, one step below the absolute truth or anything, right?
The non-dualist, I will say it's one step below.
Right, me too.
The dualist will say it's one step above your absolute reality. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So the Vaishnava, the Gaudiya Vaishnava masters, they say that this limitless light of pure consciousness, so they say that it is basically, they call it Tanubha, the radiance of the body of Krishna. These poor non-dualists, they call us Mayavadis, the poor Mayavadis, non-dualists, they see the light, they think, oh, it's Brahman, pure consciousness, whatnot, and they faint. And that's what they call realization. But if they persisted, they would go a little further and then see the little blue boy, Krishna. So that's the radiance of the light of the body of Krishna. So what they have done is, instead of putting non-dual realization as the highest, they put it as the beginning, and the dualistic realization as the highest. So these games we can play. Sri Ramakrishna never did that. He made it flat. In whichever way you realize that, it is welcome. But then he is echoing none of the, even Sureshwaracharya, great non-dualist, he says, by whichever way you come to enlightenment, that's welcome. Of course, in Sureshwaracharya's sense, enlightenment means realization that I am Brahman. Whichever way you come to the realization I am Brahman, that's welcome. If you had said to him, no, I want to be in the presence of the baby Krishna, is that all right? He would have probably hesitated a little bit. He said, it's all right, okay for the time being, but do better. Yes?
Swamiji, can you tell us about Shuddha Bhakti?
Yes, so that's another path, the Gaudiya, connected to the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They say that all of these other practices are not necessary. Just devotion by itself can lead to enlightenment and freedom. And in fact, even enlightenment is not the goal. Pure devotion, love is the goal. So may I realize God, may I love God from lifetime to lifetime. I don't care for liberation, enlightenment. May I be born again and again, but let me have pure love for you, O Krishna. That was Kunti's prayer. Remember, somebody who suffered so much. At the end of all that suffering, she said, let me suffer again and again. But only one condition, may I love you. Nothing else I want. So that is Shuddha Bhakti. But that's the madness, that's not philosophy. I mean, it's a kind of philosophy. This is the madness of the lover, for whom love is the highest, not your becoming sugar. Can you pass the microphone there to that gentleman there?
Pranam Swamiji. But you mentioned Saguna and Nirguna. I was just kind of trying to think, how can anyone ever know the true nature if it's Saguna or Nirguna or both at the same time? Because even with the Nirguna's way, with the Vedantic way, the experience is by becoming it, right? By being one with it. And at
No,
that
not
point-
necessarily. Right now, are you saguna or nirguna? Are you with attributes or without attributes? When you look at yourself, yes, I'm with attributes. I have a body which has a certain shape and color and weight and all of that. I have a mind which has certain psychological characteristics, personality trait. These are all saguna, with attribute, with form, with attribute. But if you do the Vedantic analysis, the witness consciousness, the seer and the seen, the 5 layers of the human personality, and the witness consciousness. That witness consciousness, what attribute does it have? No attribute. It's bare of all attributes. It's the witness of all attributes. You yourself are saguna and nirguna. Why will God be anything less than that?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Very good. The lady there, will end with her. Raise your hand aggressively. Yes.
Hi, Swamiji. I was just wondering, could you elaborate on what you see as the significance of broader community service in the concept of karma yoga?
Yes. So broader community service, that is one of the aspects of karma yoga emphasized by Vivekananda. Now notice, the spiritual effect of work has been understood in Hinduism, in the Vedic religion, from the most ancient times. In the Vedas, there are terms like Ishtaputta, the 2 kinds of karma. One is religious ritual, another one is works of charity. So it's not a religious ritual, but they will say that make a way house, for travelers, what people used to need hundreds of years ago, dig a well in a village. So these are works of charity. Give to the needy, feed the hungry. That was there from the most ancient times, in the Gita also, in the Upanishads, in the Vedas. But then what happened was, along comes Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, and he says that karma yoga is not just religious action or charitable action. Whatever action we do in life, that can be converted into karma yoga. So that's why the worst kind of action is taken as an example, a battlefield. That means your job can be converted into karma yoga. Your family, work in the family and community can be converted into karma yoga. Every action can be done as a worship of God. That's the next evolution in the idea of karma yoga. Now what you are saying, that comes again, Vivekananda stresses that. Not only works of charity, not only religious action, not only duty performed as spiritual action, Gita, but further, beyond your duty, community action. Vivekananda saw around him, this is something I read in Subhas Bose's writing, Netaji Subhas Bose, who was very inspired by Vivekananda. He says, I read all this Vedanta and yoga and all, but I looked around me. Outside our house used to be this beggar woman who was starving, abandoned. And I used to think, on the streets there are beggars. Thousands die of starvation every other year. There is something seriously wrong in society if we are in such dire straits, in spite of all our spiritual philosophies and this practice. And yes, no doubt, a range of saints throughout the centuries and millennia. But something has gone wrong with society. Somehow all the spirituality is of no good to society. And Vivekananda comes and says, I do not care for a religion which cannot wipe the widow's tears, cannot cannot raise bread to the lips of a hungry man, and which promises heaven after death. I do not care for such a religion. I remember in the slums of, I think this was probably Nagpur, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly. This elderly gentleman who did a lot of work, who was doing, I hope he's still there, for children in the slum. And he took me and some other monks to visit the school. It's a very difficult place. But he's doing this work, hundreds of little kids benefiting from the work. And in the speech afterwards, I spoke, others spoke, and that gentleman, I still remember one line which he said. He's talking about all these philosophies. He says, in our quest to become gods, we forgot to be human. So Vivekananda says, the decline of India, Indian society at that time, late 19th century, why are we in such dire straits? He says, 2 great national sins. He says, the oppression of the masses and the discrimination against women. It is 2 great national sins. So community service, and indeed even activism for the welfare of the many, that is karma yoga. That is spiritual practice. Acts of charity, yes, of course. Converting our duty into spiritual practice, yes, of course. But beyond your duty, beyond charity, uplifting the community in various ways. Could be for justice, for the homeless, for whatever reason. Where you try to help alleviate human suffering on a mass scale. Not your duty, it's beyond your duty. But this is a service to God in the form of this community. That is karma yoga, yes. Now, I can do it for the welfare of the many, and that will help me. And if I do it with the added idea that I'm serving the divine, this is my worship to the divine, it becomes a powerful form of karma yoga. I'm glad you pointed that out. You might think that I've given it some thought, but that's why I was able to say all these things. And indeed, I had given it thought. Years ago, a Pandit in India, a traditional scholar, Nyaya Pandit, he said to me, like a rhetorical question, challenge, what's so new about Swami Vivekananda's karma yoga? You have acts of charity being mentioned in the Vedas which are 5,000 years old. Then I started thinking, what is the evolution of karma yoga over the centuries and millennia? So this is how it's evolved. All right.
Swamiji, will you take the last question?
Last question, yes. The young man there. Tell us your name and how old are you?
My name is Yuva.
Yuva means young.
Yeah,
How old are you?
11 years old.
11 years old.
And my question is, after you reach enlightenment, what do you do after that? Like, is there another goal?
No, after that you're just bored. There's nothing more to do. So don't be in a hurry to reach enlightenment. Then you're going to get really bored after that. There's nothing more to be done. No. Swami Brahmananda used to say, spiritual life starts after Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Your spiritual life starts after enlightenment. Your life really begins with enlightenment. Before that, we are chased by hounds. What is the phrase? Living life. Most people live lives of quiet desperation. For the first time we are set free, we can breathe freely. For the first time you really enjoy life. Then for the first time you're really having fun. For the first time you're never bored. One characteristic of enlightened people, in any religion, any time you see, they never feel bored. Then life really becomes fun. Life really becomes enjoyable. You're happy with life, happy with death also. You're not afraid of death. You're not afraid of life. If it's a greater fear is living. Many people who commit suicide is because they're afraid of living. So both you're fine with. And you are very happy. You enjoy every little bit of it. I've seen highly spiritual people, I didn't know if they're enlightened or not. They seem to be having the time of their lives. At the point of death, dying. Having the time of their lives. So Vivekananda said, imagine knowing that you cannot die. You'll have no fear. You won't be in a hurry. Imagine loving all beings by knowing that they are God. How difficult it is to see God. But for an enlightened person, you see God whenever you see anybody. Not by imagination. It's a fact for them. So their life becomes a blessing. Endlessly, effortlessly so. Good question. Thank you so much.